Good afternoon, everybody. It's Leo coming at you once again with a little coffee and conversation for today. I know my last session was a little bit, uh, yeah, last coffee and conversation. We kind of hit some rough spots in the little terrains of life. But today's coffee and conversation. First things first, I actually wanted to make this a bit more personal. I really want to get intimate today because what I'm going to talk about, fosters, a sense of positivity and feeling good about yourself, building your self esteem and, building your confidence. And, the thing was, along my walk this morning, my workout this morning, the thought hit me, feeling good about you in 2020, in a year that I truly believe has, shot everybody in the foot in some capacity. This segment here is feeling good about yourself in 2020. What does that mean? Feel good about you in 2020. Just what it says, feeling good about you in 2020. This segment talks about not seeking validation from outside sources, to put a smile on your face. This is simply about you doing what you need to do to get where you need to be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what have you. A lot of times, we're looking at what somebody else has and we're thinking, I wish I could have what they have, or I wish I could be like them, or, we kind of quietly admire people, but will openly envy them in a heartbeat. You know, Me personally, I could never understand that. I feel like if I'm comfortable in my own skin, why do I need to cast a stone at somebody else to feel better about myself if I'm already comfortable in my own skin? And that's what I want to talk about today, is cultivating a level of feel good about you. This is the time to start visiting some areas that maybe you have not. This is the time to sort of bring to light some of the things you kept in the dark for way too long. This is the time to acknowledge some of those insecurities, those inequities you're carrying that are hindering you from becoming your best self. This is the time to become the best version of you. You have to live with you at the end of the day. If you're, whether you're single, married, dating, what have you, you still have you to contend with at the end of the day. What matters the most is your relationship with yourself. You have to sometimes stop and ask yourself, what is my relationship like with me? If you have a spiritual practice, what is my relationship like with God? Where does my faith stand? Where am I at? These are questions that we have to honestly ask ourselves and answer them just the same. Honestly, be candid with yourself. Too often times, we're living in, self deception. You don't feel as great about yourself as you think because you see somebody else with a quality that you admire secretly, but openly you feel it necessary to tear them down to build yourself. But what you've done is really empower that person. It's a sad thing to see, somebody else, that person you were envious of, that person you openly, assassinated character wise. It would be a sad sight to see them progress and elevate and move forward in life, but you're still sitting on the sidelines pouting passively because of what? Jealousy? I always say this: envying me does not improve you in any way, shape, or form. It may feel good to get what you have to say about me at the moment out of your mouth and off your chest. But if you really look at the fruit of your life, how drastically, in a positive way, has your life changed as a result of envying the person next to you? That person you're envying and quietly admiring but openly envying, that's a person you could learn something from. Real talk. I think we need to cultivate a spirit of feeling good about ourselves. You know, what makes me, I won't say, well, yeah, I'll say happy, but happiness is fleeting. I'll say what gives me joy, what gives me purpose, what sets my heart on fire. You know, what stimulates me mentally. You know, what gets me up in the morning. You know, what puts a smile on my face. You know, healthy ways to cultivate a feel good about you in 2020. And I hate to break it to you, but the days are not really going to get any better. And even the good days up ahead will come in ebbs and flows, as that's what life is. It's a series of ebbs and flows, you know, a changing of the seasons, just like the tides. You have high tide, you have low tide, but it's how you function in both seasons that really showcase who you are as a person. You know, your character has the chance to either shine or not in chaotic times. You know, this pandemic of 2020 has got everybody just frazzled. You know, people are more worried about what's not open right now or the limitations that have been placed on us because of, you know, the corona. But this could have been a time for you to self reflect. This could have been a time for you to dig inside yourself, journey within, and say, what can I do to better myself during this time? How do I overcome this adversity that's out of my realm of control? What's within my control, and what can I do to control my end of the situation? I can't control this virus that's spreading around, but what can I do on my end to control the situation from my end? But in order for you to do that, you have to go within and see what's going on with you. But if you're a person like myself who, you know, does introspection daily, you know, time spent alone and by yourself in solitude to think and allow yourself to process what's going on around you is nothing new. In fact, for me, I can tell you personally, this year has been one of my most creative bonanzas. I don't think I've ever been more creative in any other year than I have in 2020. You know, I've written a lot of poetry. You know, I've, you know, been practicing my vocals. I've been, you know, I love music. That's another art form I love. I also love dance. I love every art form. But I've also really taken time to learn myself, even the things I thought I knew, learning more on top of that, you know, good stuff and bad, learning where I was wrong in certain situations, what I could have done better, you know, how I could have alleviated a lot of stress on my end. You know, I've had periods this year where I've just been like frazzled, and I have to really figure out, okay, what did I do on my end to cause that? Did I allow the actions of somebody that I can't even control, that I don't know really, to put me in that state? You know, sometimes we have to take accountability for our actions. You know, it's not always the other person that's in the wrong, sometimes it's you. And even though you might have had the best of intentions to right a situation and rectify it, every situation is not for your intervention. Every situation doesn't call for you to intervene. You see what I'm saying? So to cultivate a level of feel good about me, I have to now focus on me. What makes me happy? What gives me joy? What gives me purpose? What gives me life? What puts a smile on my face? I have to give myself some of that inspiration, you know, learning to give back to me. You know, I love being, altruistic to any and anybody who needs it, but I have to remind myself to give back to me. What I've relinquished, reciprocate back to myself. Because if I sit around waiting for somebody else to do it, I'm going to be in a hopeless situation. Because in order for somebody to give me what I'm desiring, they have to have cultivated that within themselves. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about, you know, bringing it back home to relearning how to love yourself so that when the right people come along, you're able to relinquish some of that. You're in a healthy mental space, emotional space, spiritual space to then relinquish some of that. You know, I'm learning this year to start appreciating the people who have shown me that I matter to them and start, deleting any sort of, or I would say detoxing myself from any memory of those that haven't appreciated me. I might be I might be too much for people. Some people might say he's just too intellectual, he talks too much, or he's very long-winded, or he's too philosophical, or what have you. And they're entitled to their opinion, but to feel good about me, I have to then start inspiring me. I have to write affirmations, create a vision board of where I want to be, who do I want to become. I'm a storyteller by nature, I'm a poet. So it's only natural for me to share what brings me inspiration in hopes that it helps somebody else. But it inspired me. I just simply build my confidence by giving hope to somebody else who might be lacking it. That's how I gain my confidence. I gain it by inspiring the person next to me, not, looking for something to tear down. When I recognize my own flaws, I don't have time to try to fix somebody else's, especially a stranger's. Now, if it's a close friend and they're doing something that doesn't sit well, you know, be that loving friend to give forth a loving rebuke and call them out on it. But feeling good about you in 2020, bring the focus back on yourself. Whether you're a person that has been, giving abundantly and overabundantly, you've given a lot of yourself to people, but you haven't given back to yourself. Come back to you, reel it back in, and get back to you. Find that place again to give yourself some of that encouragement, that love, that inspiration, that hope, that joy. Do those things that accommodate your needs to feel great about yourself, to build your self esteem. And for those of you that have, you know, operated from the other side of the spectrum, finding something about your neighbor to tear down to build yourself, this might be the time for you to look within and figure out what's going on with you and assess yourself honestly, be genuine about it. Soul searching is not always going to reveal great things about you. Sometimes time in front of the mirror, metaphorically or even literally speaking, might not always encompass glamour. Hence, a common phrase, self reflection. That's you looking within and you seeing, dang, I have some stuff that I have not dealt with that I need to deal with if I really want to become a better person. if I really want to be an agent of change and betterment for the world around me. But if you're comfortable being, not a great person, if you're comfortable being substandard in your character, if you're comfortable with that, well, then, you know, this ain't really for you. But if you really are trying to evolve and become a better version of yourself, you need to go within and examine the areas that are not so great, deal with them, find practical ways to deal with them, practical and effective ways to deal with them, and you can then become better. The key to becoming is to unbecome. You have to unbecome one thing to become another. That's how you evolve. And in this season, I'm all about evolution and improvement. I'm an advocate for self improvement. Anybody who comes in contact with me knows that. But that's my segment there. Feeling good about you, my coffee and conversation. Feeling good about you, about you. Put apostrophes or, quote, one quotationals around that word you to really hone the focus in on you. This is about feeling good about you in 2020, not going after what somebody else has, not looking to the left and to the right at what everybody else has. It's good to admire people, but find things of your own. Aim for your own, level of success. You know, Stop worrying so much about being on somebody else's level or status. Graduate a level that is beneficial for you. Bring the focus back in on you, and you'll be all right. But yes, that's my segment today. Coffee and conversation. Feeling good about you. You in 2020. Blessings, y'all.